So many relationships in our country are struggling today. As a matter of fact, the American Psychological Association, I use this quote all the time, said that about 80% of relationships in our country are extremely unhealthy right now. And I'm going to give one of the reasons why, and it's called a trauma bond relationship or a trauma bonded relationship. It is probably one of the easiest type of relationships to get into, and it's one of the reasons why 80% of relationships in our country absolutely are terrible right now. David Essel, 45 years, #1 best-selling author, counselor, and more. Let's get right to the point. A trauma bond relationship is so easy to form, and I have been them myself. I swear, it's crazy. You'd think that someone who's dedicated 45 years of their life would be able to escape a trauma bond relationship, but it's not true. But what is a trauma bond relationship? It can come from many, many different angles. If we were neglected as a child, if we were abused as a child, if we were abandoned as a child, if we had parents who were addicts, if we had parents that were just never around, if maybe we were raised by our grandparents and it wasn't a good situation. Well, all of these instances that happen between 0 and 18 can create a sense of trauma around sensitivity, around sensuality, around communication, around connection in love with relationships. And many of us, if we see our parents arguing and fighting all the time, we look at that as normal. And then we're bringing trauma into a relationship when we start to date. Or we see parents that are drinking all the time, and then we start doing that, which means we're bringing trauma into a relationship. You know, I've had so many individuals. I'm working with a couple right now. They met, everything was great. You know, there was an immense amount of attraction. I mean, incredible amount of attraction. I've worked with them both one-on-one. But one of the things neither of them realized is that they connected over trauma. And what does that mean? Well, the first 30 days they were together in their dating stages, they got into these heavy discussions about how their former husbands or former wives were all idiots. And if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be in this financial situation. If it wasn't for them, blah, 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 right? So we're basing our relationship, we're bonding over trauma talk. We're bonding over negativity. And so one person starts saying, oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, you're talking about your wife or your ex-girlfriend who did that. Wait till you hear what my ex-boyfriend did. Wait till you hear what my ex-wife did. You know, and so we bond. I mean, there's absolutely glue, right? You're gluing. Now, you can glue either over positivity or negativity, but a trauma bond relationship is bonding or becoming glued over negativity. And you know what's going to happen. It's going to blow up. Whenever you start something on gossip, whenever you start a relationship or a friendship on a conspiracy theories, or you both hate these presidents and you want this one president to win or whatever it might be, that's all trauma-related friendships. That's not real friendships. And in world of love, it happens all the time. So evaluate. You know, when you end a relationship, do not move on with your trauma. Don't move on with any revenge, any anger, any resentment. I know that sounds impossible, right? It's possible if you take the time to heal. We tell people that have been in relationships for a number of years to take anywhere from 6 months to a year completely free of relationships. Shatter that trauma that you're carrying forward and forward, that you keep repeating. My God, I worked with a woman, maybe about 6 or 8 months ago. And when she came in, we were talking about had been in multiple relationships. She was 60 years of age. Every one of them she ran from. Every one of them she ended in a really negative way. Why? Because she had faced abandonment as a young child. And so she was afraid of intimacy. She was very great at sex, but she was afraid of intimacy. And when things started to get a little tough, when things started to get a little difficult, she would run. That was based on her abandonment, on her trauma that she went through in childhood. So before you get into a new relationship, work with a professional. Get rid of any resentments. Listen, I've dated people that have hurt me so deeply. I would say, how the hell am I ever going to get through that resentment? And if I tried to do it on my own, even as a counselor, I couldn't. I had to have another counselor work with me. And I've done that several times. I've made several mistakes in my life over relationships. Not going to do it again. But I always have someone to help me see the truth. I have a counselor that's going to expose if I am talking trauma, if I'm attracting someone who has trauma, who hasn't healed. And you know, what I've learned over the years too is that there are many times we attract what seem to be great people. But if we pay really close attention to the way they talk about their mother, their father, their sister, their brother, all of their ex-partners, we might be into a trauma bonded relationship. If someone is talking about how terrible all their family is and how terrible all of this is, we might, through our empathy and our sympathy and everything else, want to bond with them. Oh, you've been with terrible women. I will nurture you. I will love you. I will give you the world. I will award you and reward you like no other woman ever has. Those words, I've heard them before. You may have heard them too. And those are warning signs. But it also started with us by complaining about former partners. And then the person who's sitting in front of us goes, oh, that's not me. It probably is them. Because if I was a person sitting on a date with someone who kept talking about their ex-husband, ex-boyfriend, father, wife, I would say, you know what, this has been great meeting you. And I would say to myself, as soon as you heal, I'd love to date you. But I would say, this is probably not going to be a great match. But I want to wish you the best. Let's be smart. If you need help, reach out to me at talkdavid.com. My Lord, this is all I've been doing for 45 years, and I love it. I love to help people see what they haven't been able to see on themselves, to break the chain of terrible relationships. Reach out to me at talkdavid.com. We work with people from all over the world, and we have specials going on right now because of inflation. Let's stop these trauma-bonded relationships now. I'm David Essel. Have a great day.